but I was told that the marketers have met with the people from, with Farouk, I was told to make sure that, yes, that price should be maintained high. But this price, we are going to start with MRS stations, most likely on Tuesday. In Lagos, they will be able to, that 900 and something, you won't see it again. Okay, we have also asked members of IFMAN to now come. We have also asked the, anybody who can buy 10 trucks to come and buy 10 trucks at 699. We are going to use whatever resources that we have to make sure that we crash the price down. We will get these sales. Maybe it will take us a week to 10 days. By the grace of God, within a week to 10 days, we will be able to deliver. We don't want to see, at least for this December, January, to sell petroleum product more than 740 naira nationwide. We'll continue. The ones that want to keep the price to sabotage the refinery, we will fight as much as we can to make sure that these prices are down. You are right. Even now, when I was coming here, I saw people selling at 910, 920. But that's not the price, because if you have money to come and buy, you can pick up at 699. And freight within Lagos is 10 naira, maximum 15 naira. Maximum. So if it's 10 naira, maximum 15 naira, it is going to cost you 715. Why do you want to sell at 900? Because those period of PFI by NMPC has passed. You know, that corruption era is no more. So if it's no more, people should get the real, price. I cannot come now and take a hit, because we too, did we make money before? No, I mean, we didn't make money. But as we speak now, even our tanks are full, because the NMDPRA has issued reckless licenses. And we have to now go and complain to the government, because they normally issue licenses at the middle of the month. So they are now ready to issue license for about 7.5 billion liters for the first quarter of 2026. Despite that, we have guaranteed to supply enough quantity. If you are talking about, somebody was talking about whether monopoly, did we stop anybody? They issued 47 licenses. Let those people come and put up a refinery there, or let them go and buy even NNPC's one and operate them. If it's profitable, they should go and do that now. NNPC was the only that was bringing before. Now we are the only ones, and the few modular refineries that are doing. Those modular refineries, I can tell you for nothing, they are almost on the verge of collapse. None of them is making a dime. So you are right. Definitely we will enforce that low price. We will make sure that, yes, but I mean, it's also easy. If you have your truck, you can come here and buy. We are selling at 699 naira. And the 699, it includes also the percentage of NMDPRA. So what actually comes to us is about 380 something, It's not really, it's 389 or so. They take about 8 naira to 10 naira.
The second level of the question, the CNG trucks, why are they still lying here?
They are lying here, as I explained. They are all okay for us to use them to deliver. You can see, even we don't want them here, because you can see, in fact, they will take you people around and show you. We don't have space anymore at the refinery. So what we are trying to do is to get them on the road, because they are not to be packed. But the main issue and the problem that we have is that those seals are not yet here. When you load, you have to seal the this thing. Otherwise, the drivers will take some of it as their own share. And we don't want the drivers to do that. So what we are going to try and do is to try and make sure that your goods are safe. Because you are paying us who are taking the risk of delivering to you, including insurance, including everything. We want to really transform the market. And you can go out there and see our trucks and also see the quality some of these trucks loading. Some of them, they are actually not fit to be loaded. So whether we buy these trucks or not, the industry needs a major revolution by making sure that there are enough available good trucks to be given. In fact, it is only in Nigeria that we are using even trucks for a long journey. Majority of all these East Southern African countries, even in Ghana, they are using mainly pipelines. But our own pipelines, you know, in connivance between the you know, marketers and co, they've been destroyed. None of the depots, Nigeria built 22 depots, all of them linked from the refineries, from the import, from everything, fine. You see, but people are always trying to look at the negative. When you look at it, since when have Nigeria been having problems with fuel queues? Since 1972. Now you have this problem. Somebody addressed the problem, and you are calling the company that addressed this issue names. Only in Nigeria. I've never ever heard it anywhere where somebody will say, yes, monopoly. Monopoly how? Well, you know, I mean, Standard Oil before in America, were they not the only ones? So fine. What you do is that you invite more people to invest. When you invite more people to invest, when you have a lot of this, then you can now start saying, okay, fine, no, you cannot have 80% share. You cannot have, then you can now say, no, okay, you regulate. But even if you are going to regulate, then what are you regulating? You don't use imports to checkmate domestic production, because you are creating jobs elsewhere. Whether we have risked our own money, whether regulator wants us to be alive or not, we'll still be alive. Every day, when we bring in ships to come and offload, it takes days for us to have clearance, which shouldn't be the case, but we're fighting that we're going to clear it and we won't have those issues again.
Yeah, Patrick.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, Chairman, President, for inviting us. My name is Patrick Atwayan for Money Central.
Cheaper. Right? No. The WTI and Brent, their price the same. Yeah, nobody is using that price you see on the pages of newspaper. WTI, you know, is cheaper a bit than Nigeria's one because it doesn't carry that premium of Nigeria's this, but WTI is not. Even on a normal paper, when you see it, it's about $3. That is written. But WTI, you have to pay. They will charge you. They have domestic cost in terms of loading into a ship. So it's not what you read. What you read, you see difference of $3-4 is not there at all. When you go there, you know, to buy, you see the answer. So WTI, yes, I mean, you know, you get it, it's cheaper compared to Nigeria's this, and it gives you the same this. But you know, our own is that we are buying Nigeria's crude that has a premium. The Nigerian crude that has a premium, you are also asking us to compete with one that has discounts, because they are all selling at the same price. The end product is being sold at the same price. You're asking us to match a dumping one. You know, there is a dumping today. If I export clinker, for example, or cement, when you look at my invoice, it's cheaper than exporting than the one that I'm selling domestically, because that's how export is. That's how it works. Because in export, you save a lot. For example, now anything that I export of my cement, I'm saving a lot of money. I'm not paying 30% income tax. I'm not paying 2% education. I'm not paying 1% health. I'm not paying 7.5% VAT. And I'm not paying 10% withholding tax. So when you reduce all these taxes, I can afford to go and compete with the international market, with Turkey, with Russia, with China.
Okay. The second leg of my question is for the fertilizer plant. The second leg of my question is for the fertilizer plant that is going to be listed next year. Hopefully, what percentage of the products are exported? And what are you seeing in terms of pricing power for these product sources? In terms of like products competing with other products?
Well, it depends on the season of the support the farmers normally get from government. You know, sometimes Nigeria takes maybe about 20–23%. You know, up to now, our farmers are not using much of the fertilizer, because if you look at the Abuja, agreement that was signed, it was agreed and signed in Abuja that all farmers in Africa must use minimum of 50 kg per hectare to be able to see the yield improvement of their crops. Nigeria was still at about 12–15. So that's why when you look at other countries that are using the right application of fertilizer, their own farm produce is much more. They are making a lot of money, because by reducing the fertilizer, you are not saving money. You are actually killing yourself as a farmer. But the farmers, they need to be educated. You know, but I mean, by 2028, Nigeria will supply most of the urea fertilizer that is needed in the African continent. We will have enough capacity to do so. We will be at about 12 million tons in total from 3. Let them use the message. All the headline is, Farouk paid. You dropped it. Well, let me answer your last question first. The question that you've asked, whether we are going to, participate in the this. You have already, you bought. Let me give you which analogy I'm going to use. You have bought a Airbus 380, and that Airbus 380 hasn't flown very well. Will you go and order 777? Eh? You won't go and order 777. You need to fix the problem of the 380 first, which carries 700 and something passengers, before you now go to the lower one. So when we address the issue here, everything goes well, then we will now go into buying oil blocks to participate. And it's the right thing to do, but you also want to play with regulators that actually are very fair to everybody. That's number one. Number two, the question that you asked, no, I don't want Farouk to be sacked, but I want Farouk to be investigated, and then also let the legal process take its toll. He should go to either conduct, Code of Conduct Bureau, or go to the court. Let them now see whether his income matches the 5 million he has paid school fees for 6 years for 4 of his children. This without tickets, or this without anything. And then also after that one, they are all have finished university. If you give those accounts, then his name will be clear. He doesn't need to be sacked. But let him clear that he has no compromise his various positions in government, okay, at the cost of Nigerians. Okay, when a lot of people in Sokoto, they can't even go to school because of 100,000 naira. The regulator is very smart. Farouk is very smart. So what he's doing, he's only telling Nigerians what is being taken out of the refinery. Okay, so what has been taken out of the refinery is totally different than what the refinery has produced. It's like you go to a market where a market is oversupplied. If it's oversupplied, obviously, yes, we can't come and throw it into the sea now, just to prove to people. But that is why, when we got tired of all this, his misleading information, we now say, okay, you know what? This is it. We even wrote him a letter that now you come, every day check our stock, which we don't want to share before, because people can take position on our, stocks. That's how the market works. but we don't even mind to lose money, come and take our stock every day, publish what we have produced and what we have in stock, so that Nigerians can be they can be assured that there's more than enough to supply the domestic market. So the question is that, there's no need, there's no point of just making sure that, yes, you keep dumping stuff in the market. There's no country you can go and do this. Because all the other countries in Africa, everybody is praying every day to see that they have a refinery. I mean, we have President of Uganda. What he said that, somebody asked him, what legacy do you want to leave when you are, leaving this office? He said that I want to make sure I establish my refinery. We have established our own. But regulators are saying that, no, you must die. Yes.
The second aspect of the question.
Okay, yeah, sorry, yes. The second, yeah, the second aspect that you asked me, yes. No, we're not getting enough crude, still. So that's why we buy from Ghana, we buy from, some few African countries. We buy from US. But US has been one of our major suppliers. That's why when somebody said that, Trump is not happy with this refinery, I said, no, I'm sure Trump too, he will ask his intelligence people, tell him, he's more than happy. Because on average, for a year, we will not buy less than 100 million barrels from US. So, I mean, US is also a major beneficiary, the refinery that we have. And when we double, I'm sure they will not supply us less than 200 million barrels per annum. So US is major beneficiary. And we also supply them with aviation and also gasoline. We've done that. I also share your own views, because what I'm saying is that the government, if government is going to tax them, they should tax them based on their selling price. But what they are doing is that they will process, they will take that same crude and pass it to their trading company, which is transfer pricing, and that trading company will be the one that will now go and add all those high charges. So they have escaped the taxes. But their taxes should be on whatever that we buy. Because there's DCO, domestic crude obligations. So the domestic crude obligation, they are not given to us. But it is okay. They always say that 1 day is for the owner, 99 days is for the team. So eventually, the day that Nigeria, people will not be able to sell the crude, when there is glut in the market, we'll meet there in the market. And that day is coming. It won't be far.
Okay.
So, thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah, okay.
Once again, Chike is from Metals. So, just a quick one. I know you mentioned about increasing the capacity of so, I just wanted to ask, are you expecting any institutional investor or like NFPC, are they going to increase their stake? The refinery of the 8% that they had. And then secondly, a few days ago you mentioned that you wanted to list, your plans to list all of the shares on NBS and $3 billion. Are there also plans to list in any foreign exchange, probably London or US?
I think at the moment, really, our main interest is to list at the exchange so that every living Nigerian can own part of the refinery. At least if you own, and I even, somebody asked me a question, is it 5 or 10% you want to sell? And I said that when we are going to sell the shares, we will not put a cap. If they happen to buy 55% and I will be down to 45%, so be it. The thing is about legacy. I want Nigerians to own this, and I want every single Nigerian, when the refinery does well, for them to be able to always rely on the profit of that refinery to be able to pay their own education, children's education, and upkeeps, health, everything. So the thing is not really about if it's institutional investor. We are talking to some of them, and yes, you are right. I mean, I must be clear that yes, we'll get one of the international people to partner with us. But the main point is for us to sell to every living Nigerian who has something. Even if it's 10 shares, you buy, or 20 shares. Yes, so there are so many Nigerians in diaspora. And some of them that they are in diaspora. That's why we are making it, including the local ones, to say that yes, we are talking to SEC to make sure that we pay the dividend in dollars, because major chunk of our own shares, I mean major chunk of our sales are in dollars. So we'll be major suppliers of foreign exchange into the market. But the issue is that you also have to know that we have to also move, we have to be very, very tough, because especially with this announcement of our own the international and local and everybody, majority of them, they're all up in arms to make sure that this doesn't happen, but it will happen. I will invite you as soon as we start the piling. Piling is going to start very soon. I'm going to invite you. Most likely we'll have groundbreaking ceremony soon. But we have already started ordering machines. Equipments have already started ordering. We already placed orders for some of our machines, and we'll continue. Gentlemen of the media, I want you to, because you can Google, the price that we're selling today, 46 cents or 45 cents per liter. There's nowhere, even in Saudi Arabia, is 30% more expensive than Nigeria. Saudi Arabia is 30% more than Nigeria today. Okay? And it's not a hidden price. No, we're even advertising. And that's what it is. So I mean, you can see the benefit. It's not also a state-owned company.
Yeah.
It's a privately owned company. So it's not that we're giving this, but I mean, as we go along, the cost will be clearer. That's a very interesting question. Well, people don't know. The president signed the paper on the 21st of October, asking for immediate implementation of 15% Balearian tax, okay, to protect the domestic industry. And on the 4th, you can also check your media houses. I think it's on the 4th of November, Dangote refinery reduced price by 49 naira. So if we are to go by the 15%, why am I in a hurry now? President has already approved. Add 15% tax. If we are to now follow the tax, we should have waited until it is implemented. Because he said immediately, please implement. Why did you think that we went down? Why did we go down 49 naira? Because the president only wrote on a Friday, 7th, to suspend the implementation, maybe to next January. But even with that one now, you know what it is when you reduce 49 naira? 49 naira for the consumption of that month is over 49 billion. 49 naira times 1.5 billion is actually 60 billion naira. So it's not a chicken change amount of money. So what we have even proved to people is to say that yes, we are not looking at that 15% or 15% is nothing. 15% is just to make sure that it gives a warning to these people not to import, just like what Prof said earlier. Because you don't actually, if you now have a small stadium in your house, you have 22 of your children playing football on both the two sides. Will you open that gate and say, well, everybody should come in? They will throw out your children now. They won't be able to play. So when you look at it, that is what we did. By making sure that, yes, they said, for the marketers, if I pray and I wish they will even lose more. Because I'm not printing money, I'm also losing money. It's not that I'm making money. They want imports to continue. I don't think it is right. They want to continue to dump. So I must have a strategy of how to survive, because 20 billion of investment is too big to fail. You know, it's just too big to fail. So we're in a situation where we'll continue to play cat and mouse. And, you know, at the end of the day, somebody will give up. Either we give up or they will give up. And I don't think if I will give up. It's okay. No, don't worry. Let me answer him. Yes. Well, you are talking about sabotage. And I'm happy that you are also here in Nigeria. I don't know whether Mele Kyari is still in town. But I think you should go to his house in Maitama and ask him how many sabotages the Port Harcourt refinery repairs went through. I think he'll be able to tell you. But I'm telling you, he told me many times they have had more than 100 sabotages at the refinery. You can ask him, he will tell you. So our own, yes, when they even sabotage you, they go and remove. We have a boiler, you know boiler? 400 tons is the largest boiler ever built in the world. It was under operation. Somebody went there and removed a spare part out of it. If I tell you the sabotages that we went through, including some of the machine manufacturers, were in verge of going to court, so I cannot tell you what. But if I now go and tell you, you will now know what I'm saying. And that's why I told you that drugs mafia, they are actually smaller than the people who are in oil and gas. Because in the drug, most of people who are in the drugs, you know yourselves. But in the oil sector, they have roped so many people in. So about whether, you know, somebody will, I mean, you should ask now, how come now, for example, all the pipelines that we built, right from the military days to date, none of them. The one that we have, which is from where I am from, Kano, that depot, we are not using trucks. The depots were only going to the trucks to load. Everything was piped up to there. 22 depots were built. They are all piped. All the 22 depots, actually even the sediments, they don't have it anymore. They have destroyed the pipes, all of them. So if it's not sabotage, is that earthquake? It's not earthquake now, you know, because it's sabotage. Sabotage is sabotage. So that is what it is. You know, I mean, we knew, I mean, in this refinery, we have lost maybe 82 million, right, dollars of stolen items. Yes, $82 million of stolen items. And what they were actually trying to do is to make sure that, we go and put massive claim on insurance. So when we put massive claim on insurance, you know, there's no free lunch. So continuously our insurance premium will just keep going up. So, I mean, yes, there is sabotage, there is. And I'm sure, you know, you should go and ask all the people who have even built, you know, the modular refineries, and I challenge any one of them to say that nothing was stolen. And people will come here with long distance, they will cut cables and put it, rub it on their body to try and see how they can take it out. And when you ask them, okay, fine, what are you doing with it? It's just sabotage. That's why we have more security people in this refinery than actual workers of the refinery. No, yes, I mean, that is our boss. Manku, how many thousands of people do you have here?
2,000.
Eh?
About 2,000, more than 2,000. It's not very good for information. The culture
Yes.
more than 2,000.
More than 2,000 people, security alone here. And I'm not talking about just normal security with a little, no, real security people. So don't, you know, it's not a joke. Yes. That's why I said that, you know, what I was saying before, I said that if I have a big enemy, my prayer for him is to go and build a refinery. Yes. Put that one now in the sea. The same people now, they will go and try and bust it, because you won't see them when they are doing it now. If you are, who will go with that heavy waves of River Niger to go and do what? You can. Are you using canoe or what? It's not possible now. It's not possible. You have a bakery, and I have your template. I know that your cost is 1,000 naira, and I'm coming to sell that bread in front of your bakery at 800. What is that one? Is that, are you praying for me or you are sabotaging me? So that is sabotage. And the issue is that, all what I'm just saying, the key message is that I think we are allowing Farouk to destroy the economy of Nigeria, and I think we should not allow him to continue sabotaging and destroying the economy of Nigeria. Like what I keep saying, that look, we have a refinery. Even if Farouk will be there for the next 100 years, we cannot close this refinery. Even at a loss, we have to continue to run the refinery. It's too big to allow it. I mean, have you ever seen an airline that's losing money that will go and just shut down? They won't shut down now. They will continue struggling, praying for a better day to come. That better day will come. Okay? So, what is the key message? The key message, I think, Farouk should not be allowed to continue to destroy the economy of Nigeria. That's number one. Number 1, B, C, D, E, F, it is that he has to be charged to either CCB, no, it's CCB, I think. No, Code of Conduct Bureau, because they have his returns. He must have filed and, you know, register what he had, and so he needs to tell, because he's been working for government all his life. So he should tell, I know what it is. I told you earlier, I will not be able to afford sending 4 of my children to a secondary school, not university, to a secondary school to Switzerland at $5 million for the 6 years of 4 kids that he has. Okay, if you deny, as a matter of fact, if you deny, because after I know that it will be the major headline tomorrow. So when he denies it, I will publish with my name, saying that these are the schools that they attended and co. As a matter of fact, I will sue those schools to publish how much of fees he has paid for all the time that they were there, including now the other information which you don't have, he should give us, the universities they went to and spent 4 years, how much he has paid. I know that one of them just finished Harvard, and tuition alone, he paid $150,000. That is the main story tomorrow. Okay? Thank you.